so excited because we are ready for episode 7 of The Vent. This is season 4, episode 7. Tonight's episode is centered around the truth of the matter is. So some of you may be wondering, what are you talking about? What does that mean? What's going on? But the title of the episode really is centered around this concept, this line of thought that truth can differ in different situations. Truth can differ based on where you grew up. Truth can differ based on your upbringing. Truth can differ based on your vocation. Like, the truth of the matter is that sometimes we make assumptions, sometimes that we come and draw conclusions based off our experiences, and we don't always experience or have the same experiences as others. Sometimes we base truth on what we know, and we all have limited knowledge, right? Sometimes we base truth on, well, this is what's true for me. And if we could all be honest, right? The truth of the matter is what's true to me or what's true for me may not always be true to you, right? I had a conversation with someone maybe a couple weeks ago. They were saying, like, your feelings can be valid and your feelings can be true, but sometimes how you view a situation may be swayed. It may not be completely accurate because based on your feelings, which are very real, you're making assumptions or you're making something out to be a negative or positive, when your feelings, the way you feel, your emotions can be clouding your judgment, right? So this is true, but it doesn't also make that true, right? Sometimes the math don't be mathing. So we're going to talk about it tonight. We're not going to just talk about truth, but we're also going to talk about self-reflection, self-evaluation. We're going to talk about how that impacts our relationships with others. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but it's all going to be centered around this idea of truth and what it looks like. And for all of you who may be involved in ministry or connected to a church, a lot of times what this looks like in ministry spaces is us making our convictions someone else's convictions. So there are some things that I might not do, but you may be able to do it. So my truth is not a blanket. My truth, we often people do absolutes. So just because I don't do this, nobody should do it. Right? Which again, it may be true for you. Example, right? Very practical example. I think maybe it may be based on my vocation. One thing that, and again, thank you for everybody that's coming in. Hey y'all, thanks for joining. I'm so glad that you're able to be here. If it is, before I hop all the way in, if this is your first time on the vent, I want to say welcome. The vent is a safe space to speak. It's a safe space to be heard. We talk about things that you may not be able to talk about in other spaces and other areas of your life. So we really try to cover things that maybe you may not have a safe space all the time to talk about. Maybe you don't always have the people to talk about it with. So we meet here, we talk. There's nothing off limits. There's nothing that you can say that people will be looking at you like, what are you talking about? It doesn't work like that. So how it works is we speak. It's not just me talking to you. It is us having conversation in community. So drop something in the comments. Talk to us in the comments. If you are on Instagram, there is a box that you can talk in. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, you can talk in the comments. Talk to each other. Talk to me. This is not a monologue. This is not a lecture. This is community conversation. I want to hear from you. So I want to hear from you. And our biggest thing, I want to say, hey, first, hey, Angelica. Hey, Miss Tracy. Hey, Henry. Hey, C. Thank y'all for coming in. Hey, Kalila. Thank y'all for coming in. It's so good to see your profile pictures. But this conversation really is centered around what may be true for me, may not be true for you, and really analyzing ourselves to say, okay, how can I be more accountable to myself? And what are some things that may be blinding me? What are some of my strengths or weaknesses that may be affecting my perspective? So kind of going back, for my vocation, right? I work as a hospice chaplain. So one thing that is true in many spaces is you eat right, you eat healthy, you get plenty of water, right? That's how you stay well. That's how you're able to function throughout your day. But often with our patients, one of the things, and it feels like it's completely wrong, it's completely off, you shouldn't be doing this, right? So with some of our patients, when they get to a certain point in their journey, we let their families know, like, it is okay if they don't eat. It's okay if they don't drink, because what you don't want to do is force them. And I'm not gonna make a long story short, right? Because I don't want to get into really too deep into the weeds. But one of the things that you don't want to do is force them to eat or drink when their body does not want to eat or drink, right? While your organs and systems are shutting down, one thing that you don't want to do is to eat and drink a lot, because then that's when your body starts storing fluid and doing different things like that, which really often causes an issue more than it helps. So for someone who may not be on that journey, yeah, eat, drink, do what you got to do. For someone who is on that journey, you eating and drinking can actually cause harm. They can choke, they can aspirate, which causes more issues on that journey than it does if you just let them their body go through this natural process. Doesn't bring them any harm, right? But for me, it would bring me harm if I don't eat, if I don't drink, if I'm dehydrated. But because their body is on a different type of journey, because they're not eating and I drink, and this is a little bit morbid, right? But that is the gist of tonight, is that your truth, my truth, their truth is all truth. Right? They don't cancel each other out. One is not better than the other. It's all truth, but it's truth in different spaces. And one of the things we talk about a lot in ministry is we try to make our truth, or we try to put what's true to us on other people, right? But because this is true to me, it should be true to you. Because this is what I know, it should be true to you. It can be very dangerous to start placing things on other people, right? Example, and I'm gonna throw this out here. Y'all tell me what y'all think, how y'all feeling, right? For some people, they don't drink because you shouldn't drink, right? That's how they feel, right? For other people, their thing is they don't drink because they know that if they do drink, they may go too far, right? For other people, they say, well, the Bible says you can drink, but you don't get drunk. Some people say, Jesus' first miracle was turning water into wine, right? So again, my personal conviction may be, you know what, I don't drink. But I can't make you say you shouldn't drink because I don't drink, you don't drink, right? Or because I don't eat. Here goes some people like, something a little bit lighter, right? I like pineapples on my pizza. That's my truth. I'll eat the pizza with the pineapples and the ham and whatever else. So everybody should eat pizza like that. That is not everybody's truth, right? To kind of lighten it up. That's not everybody's truth. So the danger is that we start demonizing people, right? I guess here's the tension, here's the issue. More than just a personal pizza, or more than just whether you should drink or not, more than what you should eat, how you should eat it, whatever, is the issue comes in when my truth and your truth are not the same. One of us can start demonizing the other, right? So if I get up every morning and I run 2 miles, but you don't do that, now, oh, you late. We take it to these extremes. This person is lazy. This person doesn't care about themselves. No, like that's just not something that maybe they want to do, or something that is able to add to that person's life at that time, right? There was one time when I would get up every morning and run 2 miles, right? And then I mess up my knees. And my doctor said, I'm gonna tell you what she said from jump. She said, you're not 21 anymore, right? I was like, hold on, Miss Ma'am. Like, she hurt my feelings a little bit. But the thing was, I can't, for my body, my truth is I can't do a lot of high impact workouts. Like I can't do the pavement, my feet hitting the pavement, because it affects my joints, my knees, my ligaments. That's my truth. Now there's some other people up here, right? I think Henry was up here. He runs all the time, miles and miles, right? He can do that because he's able to do that. And that's a true part of his life and what he does, right? I can no longer do that. And I have to live in my truth of, okay, I can't run 2 miles a day, but what I can do is low impact exercises, right? I started doing Pilates. I started doing yoga, because those are low impact. But what I cannot do is tell him, you shouldn't run. Run is not good for you. Run is going to hurt your body. That's not his truth. That's my truth. And we get in trouble and we get into dangerous territory when we start telling people what their truth should be based on what our experience is and what's going on with us on a personal level. Y'all talk to me. Does that make sense? Is that something that you've seen, something that you've experienced, where someone has a personal thing, but then they kind of make it a blanket statement, or they make it something? Or have you ever done that, right? For some of us, because something is true for us, it becomes true for everybody, right? Miss Tracy said, because you wear dresses all the time, then you should too. Tradition of denomination, right? And that's why I say in ministry spaces, thank you for sharing that, Miss Tracy. A lot of times in ministry spaces, that's what happens is, did I pause on IG? A lot of times in ministry spaces, that's what happens. It's not always biblically based. It's not always based on faith. It's often based on people's personal convictions, whether it's something that they learned down through the years from their elders, where it's something that may have been misinterpreted or taken out of context. From a sacred text that may have been misinterpreted or taken out of context, where there's something that was traditional and it turned into something else, now becomes a blanket for everybody, right? Dresses, women not being in certain spaces, different people not being able to interact with others. Often that becomes, we don't know, many of us don't even know where it starts, but it starts somewhere and then it becomes the norm for everybody, when really it may have just been, and I ain't gonna go real deep into this, but really it may have been true for one person or one group of people, and it becomes a blanket statement for everybody. And the issue with that is not only that we demonize, so now certain groups are demonized, right? Certain groups, let's say women for one point, aren't able to do certain things in certain denominations and certain faith organizations and faith systems. People of a certain age aren't able to do certain things, right? There are whole communities of people where the elders are lifted up and they are taken care of and they're honored in such ways. But then you come to the US and it's like, once you get old, like, oh, and not everybody in the US, because I've met many families where they still honor their elders. But you come to the US, often that mentality is, you're old, you may not matter as much as certain spaces, right? So the truth is different, where in certain spaces being older and being elderly represents wisdom, and it represents knowledge and the passing down of things, when the other spaces like, oh, where these people are older, they're no longer of use, right? Truth in two different spaces that look totally different. And one, hopefully we can work on getting into better spaces. But again, culture changes truth. Society often changes truth. Life experiences changes truth. I am a 30-plus-year-old that grew up in the South in a small town. There are many things that are true to me that my friends who grew up in New York, that my friends that grew up in California, that my friends that grew up in the Midwest, that's not their truth, because they didn't grow up like that. They didn't grow up with the same type of rules and things that I had. Again, doesn't make one better, worse, up, down, whatever. But it does mean that we can't demonize each other because we had different experiences and we have different expectations. But we should, and we want to be open to hearing other people's truth, and even helping that helping us to grow, right? I'm gonna read a couple more comments. Boo Wop said, "We have to stay in our lane and focus on our truth. Folks always project their fears onto people." That's a really good statement. I think two things there, right? Stand in your own lane and focus on your truth. Is one, acknowledging, okay, this is what's true to me. No matter what anybody else says, no matter what happens, I know that this is what I should be doing. No matter what neighborhood I came from, no matter how much money my parents made or what they didn't or didn't have, I know my truth is I plan to go to college. I plan to get postgraduate education, or I plan to go to the military. Nobody in my family's ever done this, or nobody I'm connected to has ever done this, but it doesn't stop that from being my truth, right? Because what's around me doesn't match it. We shouldn't demonize people because their truth doesn't look like the norm or the status quo. He also said folks always project their fears, and that's it. The unknown. Oh, wait, you're doing something different. We haven't seen this, right? And often different is scary, especially if you're doing something different and people that are around you, people that are close to your circle or in your circle, and you start doing something different. It's like, hold on, wait a minute, what you doing, right? People become skeptical, people become afraid. So then they start putting their fears on you, like, well, they start coming up with you, well, the system is against us. That can be true, but that doesn't mean that you can't succeed. Well, don't let people like us come in there. That could be true, but you still put yourself in position in spaces where you don't belong based on whatever your truth is. If you say, well, I'm going to be an engineer, well, I'm going to be this, right? And you put in the work and you get the education, you do whatever you need to do to get there. It may not be true for another person, but it can be true for you, right? I'm gonna be a millionaire. Your route may even be different, right? Somebody may go to college and get the degree and start the business and they're booming, millions on millions. Somebody else may not go get any type of formal education, but they come up with some kind of invention or do whatever, and they're a millionaire on top of millionaire on top of millionaire. Both people got to the same space, different routes. So their truth is you go to college, you build a business, you network with people, you become a millionaire. This other person's truth is you ain't got to go to college. You just have to have the idea, you have to have the grit, you have to have the drive, and you make it. Both of these things are true. So we can't demonize a college grad. We can't demonize the person that doesn't have the degree. They both ended up in the same space or similar spaces, and they did it in different routes, and both are true. So that kind of for me, and I'm gonna come back, but that goes down that route. We push people to college and we push people to certain spaces. Well, yeah, it can be true that you can get a good job, but you can also be true that you can make your own job and you don't have a college education, right? They're both true. So we don't want to demonize one or the other. Hey, Tasha. Hey, Moving Mountains VA. Hey, Freddie. Hey, Antimo. Hey, everybody just came in. And I do apologize to Facebook for whatever reason. I cannot see the comments on Facebook, but I can see IG comments. But for everybody that's in, thank you for coming in. Again, we're talking about truth and how truth can differ for different people and how truth can be different, but it doesn't mean that one is bad, better, worse, good, bad, up, down, I'm better than you. It is just like we have different experiences. Our truth looks different, and that's okay. The biggest thing for me, we can be so polarizing, right? Where, well, if this is true, then this can be the only truth and nothing else matters, right? If you make ice cream with mint, that's the only ice cream you can have. It's like who knows, 500 types of ice cream, right? But if somebody just stopped and said, this the one way you make it, can't do nothing else, we would be limited, right? And I'm trying to use some lighter examples because I started off with a few heavy examples. But the thing is that differences, different perspectives, different backgrounds, different goals, it's okay, because the truth is we all have our own lane. Like Henry mentioned, we all are running our own race and our own lane. And just because you're doing something different or you get somewhere a different way doesn't mean that you're right or wrong. It just means this was your lane and you ran it and you lived in your truth and you spoke in your truth and you did what you had to do, which doesn't make you good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent. It just means that you're getting to where you need to go, however you need to get to that. And we as people and people that have to interact with other people have to be open enough to acknowledge people's differences, accept people's differences, and even just realize that everybody won't do everything like you do it. Which again, I'm gonna keep saying, it doesn't make them wrong. It just makes them different. A lot of times we make different wrong, or we make different bad. We make different less than, when sometimes different is just different. It's not what you would have done, but it's how they do it. Anybody that has kids, a lot of times they do stuff, and I'm like, why would you do it like that? But they often get to the same or a better result than we get to as adults. But we got to give them the space to kind of work through that, right? We give them some guidance, but we got to give them the space to kind of work to it, get to their own conclusions, so they're able to stand on their own feet when we're not around and make their own decisions. Now, they might not make the decision we would have made, but what they may do, right? People we have influence over, our children, people in our community, people we mentor, they may not get there the way you got there, but you got to give them, we have to give them the space to figure it out, because they can discover something new. No, this is not the route you took, but I'm doing this, and now I've opened up new possibilities. I hope that makes sense. Hey, Bob, my brother came in. Hey, Bobby. Hey, True Ambition Photo. Hey, Freddie. Yes, I'm different, but okay. And I think for many of us, and for many of you who are, I mean, all of us are different, right? But have you ever experienced like your being different kind of isolates you, or your being different has made people not necessarily like you or want to deal with you because they're like, nah, you doing. But the thing is, you have to be different because your lane is not their lane. So whether people accept it, whether people like it, whether people love it, we at least want to be people who are open to, you know what, let's hear them out though. No, that's not how we would have done it, but let's hear this person out because they may be onto something that you never discovered, which can open up new doors and not just impact them, but all of the people around them, right? And the biggest thing with doing things in a different way is opening up new doors and discovering new possibilities beyond what you know right now. Because if you don't grow, it's like stagnant, like being stagnant, not growing doesn't help. It hinders you more than anything, right? Once you reach this place where you know everything, once you reach this place where you're stagnant, things that aren't growing right, water that's not moving starts to collect mildew and different things that aren't well for it, bacteria, right? But things that are moving, things that are going, have the ability, at least the ability, to grow. True ambition said so true. More than one. Yeah, that's it. That's the phrase. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Now, there are multiple ways to do the same thing. It's just like getting to a destination, right? And then we'll kind of move on to kind of get into the meat of everything, right? Me and my mom. I don't know if my mom is up here on Facebook, but I don't think she'll mind if I tell this. So me and my mom are very different when it comes to driving. I'm gonna just say that, right? So for me to get to one place, I'm gonna take the shortest route. I don't care if I got to go over a bridge, through a tunnel, over the river, through the woods. I'm going that way. It's quicker. Boom. My mom is like, she likes to take the back roads, right? So she's gonna go the city way, which may take a little bit longer. She doesn't necessarily want to drive over a bridge. She don't want to go through a tunnel. She want to take the street way. Perfectly fine. It's different, right? So for her, it may, if we're going somewhere that's 30 minutes away, it may take her 45 because she's going the street route, which means she's gonna get lights, she's gonna get more traffic possibly. I'm gonna take the highway. Like I'm gonna do that every single time. Right? But here's the thing, we can't demonize each other. Like sometimes I'm like, Mom, we gotta go. Right. So we have our moments, but there are other moments where the highway is packed and I gotta take them back roads with my mama. Right? Again, different. We're getting to the same destination. We may even get there at different times, at different points. There may be different days where her route and my route, her route is better than my route because the highway is packed and there's been an accident. So we gotta go the street way. That's the only way we're gonna get there. Right? But there may be other moments where my way is better because it's lights, it's traffic. We don't have time for that. Let's hit the highway, direct route, go. Both are true. And at different times, one may be better than the other. However, we don't demonize each other because we do something in a different way, right? And True Ambition said, I think that's called. Call said you have to be open to new ideas. Absolutely, we got to be open to doing things in different ways. I think insanity is defined as doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If you've been doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over, you're getting the same result, that is insanity. You have to be open to following a different truth. And again, I'm not talking about faith or anything like that. What I'm talking about is being open to, okay, this didn't work. What are some other ways that I can approach this? What are some other perspectives? You know, like when you're in school and you're trying to prove your point, you have to have support in fact, or you have to find a source to support what you're saying. It's bad. It is, okay, 4 other people have reached this conclusion a different way, right? We learned this. I'm not going to the seminary journey, but we learned like these different thoughts, these different theologies, no matter what your vocation may be or what you have studied before. A lot of times you have to have the researchers or the psychology, whoever to back it up. And often some of them come to the same conclusion, but they come to the same conclusion through a different way, right? And many of us have come to conclusions with people, or we have come to into knowledge, but our path may have been different from those before us. Our path may have been different from our peers, right? I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I don't know how many of y'all know this, but it took me 8 years to get out of undergrad. That's my truth. My sister took the 4 that you supposed to take, right? We both had degrees. Her truth is she finished in 4. My truth is I took the scenic route. It took me 8 years to get out of undergrad. I have my degree. Her truth is her truth. My truth is my truth. We both made it, right? On different routes, right? But it's still truth. So no matter how long it takes, no matter if your timeline looks different than somebody else, truth is truth and your truth is yours. No matter what other things you had to deal with while you were going on that, like people won't ever know your journey until you share it. So when you share your truth, you also help free other people, right? So somebody breathe like, "Oh, it took me 5, took me 8, but I got out." Right. So hey Adelphia, hey AJ, hey chat. So yeah, so kind of hopping into the main things. Thank y'all for sharing. I really do appreciate you sharing. I do appreciate y'all talking in the comments and sharing your truth with us. So the big thing, the first thing is setting boundaries. So setting boundaries is not selfish. While we're talking about setting boundaries, we talk about your truth being your truth. Oftentimes people will try to tell you what your truth is based on their truth. It doesn't work. Hey, Janessa, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, right? There may be some things we have in common, but at the end of the day, my truth is my truth. What I've been through, my experiences, right? And the big thing with boundaries is setting a boundary is not selfish. Setting a boundary with people, right? And I'm talking about from this perspective, not that you know everything, not that you have it all figured out, not that you aren't teachable or able to learn. What I'm saying is what your story is, right? Controlling your own narrative is saying, okay, no, that may be true for you, but this is my experience. And being able to express that and control your own narrative. So you don't want anybody else to tell your story, right? Incorrectly. You don't want anybody else to tell you what your story should be, but there are moments and people that you share with, and you want to be clear on where you stand. And as it relates to setting boundaries, knowing that setting a boundary for yourself is not selfish. Setting a boundary is how you show people how to respect you. Setting a boundary is how you care for yourself. Setting boundaries is how you communicate with people how to treat you, what you're willing to accept. And it can look selfish in certain moments, but the idea is that people can't just come in and do what they want and get what they want and that's it. There's some boundaries set up because I have to protect myself. You have to protect yourself. And whatever that looks like for you, that's why often during these times that we're together, I say whatever that looks like for you, because self-care for me may not be the same. It may not look the same as what self-care looks like for you, right? Downtime for me may not look like what downtime looks like for you. Like I am a massage girly. Like I'm going to get a massage. There are people who don't want anybody touching on them or doing that, right? But that is relaxing. That is refreshing. I love it. If I could do it every day, I would, right? But there's somebody else like, girl, I don't want anybody touching on me. I don't want to take off my socks. Not going, right? What I can't do is be like, you crazy. You need to go get a massage. For what? For them to waste their money and be uncomfortable the whole time, right? So setting boundaries is a show of respect for yourself, and showing others how to respect you is also something that protects your time. So often, as we talk about telling your truth, people try to dictate your day. You ever been off? Like you had a day off. You had a day you did not have to go to work, and you told somebody, and what they do, they plan your whole, oh, well, you can go with me to do this. Can you do this? You think since you off, can you go over here and take care of this? You think you can? That's not an off day if you're running around for everybody else. Now you still working. You just may not be working your normal job, but you're doing a job. Right? So it is also protecting your time. So there may be some days, and I talked to my team lead on this, when she was like, take a day off and don't tell nobody. And she was like, every time I tell my husband or I tell somebody, that I'm off, they plan my day for me. So you love these people. Let me be clear. But you have to protect your time. You have to protect your emotional and mental well-being. Like I love my daughter, right? But there's some moments where I want to spend time alone. I love my family. There's some moments where, hey, let's go do this. And then we all go to our own houses, right? I love you and I enjoy spending time with you. But a boundary is, yes, let's go to a movie. Let's go get dinner. And then, I love you. I enjoy spending time with you. I will see you next week. Right. And it's something that is necessary. It's not selfish. It's not wrong. Whether you're a parent, whether you have parents and you are spending time with them, whether you have friends, a significant other, whatever that is, there still has to be some kind of boundary that's set so that you're able to take care of your own needs, take care of yourself on your job. I mean, like it's across the board, right? Hey Keith, Janessa said set boundaries in all aspects of life. Absolutely. In your personal life, in your business life, people who are involved in ministry, in your ministry life, in your vocation, you have to set boundaries, because if not, you're going to find yourself constantly. And I've been in that space where you're just constantly going, you're constantly doing stuff for others. And the downfall to that, and the bad side of that is you end up running yourself ragged. You can end up in the hospital. You can end up dehydrated. You know, it has its own ramifications that come with that. So setting boundaries actually preserve you mentally, physically, emotionally, your money, right? How you're investing your money and your time is a big deal. So when it comes to your truth being your truth, the truth is, if you call me after 8 o'clock about some work stuff, you're going to voicemail. I want to be very clear. I went on vacation, and it may sound selfish to some people, but when I'm at work and when I'm working ministry, I give 100% every single time. When I'm off, I am off, right? So when I was off for a week, I was off for a week. I was on Do Not Disturb. I deleted my email apps. I deleted my work chat off my phone. Like, I still have access to it, but I deleted it because this is my time with myself and my family. I love my patients. I love the people that I'm blessed to serve. This is my time for me and for my family. I love y'all. This is my time. And right now I'm on Do Not Disturb. This is who you can talk to in the meantime. I ain't gonna leave anybody hanging now. This is who you can talk to in the meantime. While I'm out, this is what you can do. Here are your instructions. I'm gonna set you up real nice. This is what you need while I'm out. But I'm gone. And I'm on do not disturb, and that's not going to change. And that is something that I have had to learn to keep doing, because if not, if I would have kept my phone on and I would have kept my emails going, I would have ended up working the whole week, and that was just not something that would have been good for my mental health, because the week I came back to work was crazy. So if I wouldn't have gotten that break, I would have just been ran down to the ground when I should have taken that time away, right? Hey, Dre. Keith said, well, I just told one of my patients that yesterday she needs to set boundaries towards her mom. Absolutely. Because we often, and I see that with some of my patients too, they don't know how to communicate. They don't always know how to communicate things with their family. So they end up swallowing it, right? So they end up having this internal battle that they have to deal with, when it could have been resolved with a simple conversation. Again, we talk about conversations. Sometimes we make it's easier said than done, but personal, right? This is not everybody's truth. I'd rather have the hard conversation with someone than to be having a battle within myself where I didn't talk to you, but now I have all these thoughts. Now I'm angry, now I'm upset, now I'm disappointed, when I could have just had a hard conversation with you, established whatever needed to be established, and went on about my day. Like, I've had to have hard conversations with people like, you know what? You have to call me before you come to my house. Like, I love you. You got to call me before you come to my house, though, right? And for some people, that's not a hard conversation. But for some people in our families, that is a hard conversation, because it can be awkward, and something just as simple as, yeah, you can call me after 8, but I'll probably get back to you the next day. That may be a hard conversation for some people, but it's necessary to set boundaries for your mental health, for your emotional well-being, for your physical health, because your mental and your emotional does affect your physical. So thank y'all for sharing that. And then, it is 9:34 already, y'all, and I still got like 2 more things I want to talk about. So I do want to ask y'all a direct question. We've been kind of talking, going back and forth. So the question that I had is, what boundaries do you have in place? Like, as we talk about boundaries, setting boundaries, letting people kind of know where you stand, or having to put things in place, whether that be at work, whether that be with family, whether that be, and with friends, whether that be in ministry. What boundaries or what kind of things have you put into place to protect your mental, emotional, and physical well-being? For some of us, it may be something as simple, like, again, it doesn't have to be anything real harsh. Like, for me, one boundary that I have is, and it falls under the line of boundary, but like, I'll go real hard on something for like an hour, and then I have to take a break. Like, that's I guess a personal boundary for myself. Like, okay, you've exhausted all you could do, in this moment with this. Take a mental break, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes. Take a mental break, go get some fresh air. And that's for me, emotionally, mentally, and physically, because I do for part of my job anyway, I do sedentary work where I'm doing a lot of typing, emailing people, following up with phone calls, doing curriculum. I'm sitting down a lot. So okay, you do this for an hour, but you have to get up, you have to get fresh air, you have to move because you can't sit down all day, right? With my patients, love them. Unless it's an absolute emergency on weekends, I'm not available. Unless it's literally an emergency where someone is literally passing away, right? So that's one of mine. Another one, hey Josh. Another one is when I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation. Like I am not here. I don't even exist in your world when I'm on vacation. I am gone, right? And I'm here because I have to be present with the people that I'm with, or I have to just be present with myself because I need this time alone, right? I was just talking to my friends about I need to plan like I did a family vacation during spring break, which was great and it was needed and I loved it. I also need a Kelly vacation where it's just me and the beach and I'm having a great time alone. So those are, some of the things where I plan boundaries. So I have a family vacation every year, at least twice a year. I have a just me time, right? Where they can range from anywhere from 2 days to a week. I have girls, like we have a long girls weekend. We call it our sister weekend where I get with my girlfriends from college and we spend days together and we just laugh and we eat and we watch TV and it's amazing. We eat junk food and it's just amazing, right? And in those moments, I am not working. I am not I'm totally disconnected from everything else because I have to be present with my people. Aggie Chap said, when I go on vacation, I try to come back by Saturday so I can reset Sunday before going back to work. That's really good. And that's something I had to learn too. Like I cannot come back from vacation and then go back to work the next day. I need a day to get myself together, like you said, and reset. And then I can go back to work. So if I come back Friday, I'm good for Sunday. Or if I come back Saturday morning-ish, right, I'm good. I'm going to be there Sunday either way, right? But if I come back, I'll be back. If I come back Sunday, I may make Monday an admin day. Tuesday, I'm back full force. But Monday, I can call some people. I might not leave the house, but I can call some people. I can do some emails. Tuesday, I'm hitting the ground running because the work that I do, I'm usually on the road a lot too. So thank you for sharing that. Anybody else, what boundaries have you put in place? And I'm going to check Facebook too. I don't know why, but my comments are not showing from Facebook, but I do appreciate everyone that is on. Hey, Mom. Hey, Miss Deborah. Hey, Miss Rosa. Hey, Donita. Hey, everybody that's on Facebook. Those are the only names that I could see. I could see that it's more people, but those are the only names. So we're still working through. I'm using Restream. We're still kind of working through. But thank y'all for sharing. If you do have comments on Facebook, please drop them. I definitely want to hear from you all. Thank y'all for coming on too. Hey Tasha, thank y'all for coming in. So if you don't have to place boundaries, sometimes your boundaries are like, this is my boundary. Everybody ain't got to know about my boundary, but there is a boundary in place. And if that's something personal for you, totally respect that. Just the goal is to have a boundary so that you're not ripping and running and you're not taking care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. So have something in place to know that, okay, there's a cutoff to access to me. There's a cutoff, to how far and what I'm willing to do. Okay. Like for real. And we need those. Miss Tracy said, telling folks no. It's a full sentence and not feeling guilty about it. It's a learned experience. Absolutely. I'm sure that many of us can identify with that. Telling people no can be hard. It can seem harsh, but again, it is you setting the boundary. No, I have had, hey, no, I don't have the capacity to do that. And like she said, just a no should suffice. No is a complete sentence. Then I think the part that we as people often wrestle with is feeling guilty because, like, oh, you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to be nice to people. Like, again, people's truth is placed on us, but we need a complete picture, right? So no is necessary in moments. No is a complete sentence. No is okay to say. Doesn't make you mean, doesn't make you wrong. It doesn't mean that you don't care about people. It means that in this moment, I have to take care of me and I won't be able to. And no doesn't even mean that I won't ever do it. No can mean, you know what, now's not a good time. No, I don't have the capacity today to do it. I can get back with you Thursday. I can get back with you next week. But right now, that's not something that I'm able to do. And there are some times when no is just no, and that's it. In the story, period. We're done and we're moving on. Either way, it's okay. Right? So thank you for sharing that. We definitely have to learn how to work through the no and not feeling like, oh man, right? And I often relate that, especially in like ministry moments, right? And we talked about this when Fitz was on, when we talked about trauma. And one of the things we talked about is, excuse me, you saying no or you not doing something. For people who may be struggling with this, it's not telling God no. It is whatever this task is, whatever you've asked me to do. I'm not able to do this, but I'm not saying no to God. I'm saying no to this thing, especially if it doesn't align with what I am moving for and what I've been called to do and what I'm working on, right? So thank you for sharing that. That's really good. As a learn, and as you move forward, you have more challenges with it, but you also know how to deal with it better. So the second thing we want to talk about is self-reflection. And this is where we can often get very like, you can wrestle with it a lot, right? Because we have to take this internal look at ourselves. So self-reflection is essential. When we talk about truth, when we talk about not trying to impress our truth on others, when we talk about not allowing others to change or tell our story or change our truth, one of the things we have to do is acknowledge our strengths and weakness. We just simply have to acknowledge and accept that we don't know everything. You don't know everything. I'm gonna say we because I don't want you to feel like I'm talking about you. I'm talking about us, right? We don't know everything. We can't do everything. We're not strong in every area. We have weaknesses. We have blind spots. We have things that we're not able to do, right? And we also have to be open to feedback. So when someone gives you feedback, right? You know who you are. You know what your weaknesses are, right? That's something or if you don't know, you want to know. So when someone gives you feedback, when someone gives you constructive criticism, you have to be able to take that and hear it and not be like, oh no, they're wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. I did the best ever. I don't never make no mistakes. No, especially someone that you care about, someone that cares for you, someone that wants the best for you. There should be people in your life who are like, okay, that went well, but you could have done this to kind of improve it, maybe move this around, change that, and you're not mad or well, they don't understand me. Or this, I was talking with my friends earlier, we were like, people often are like, well, that's just how I am. That is not okay. We're growing, we're nowhere imperfect, but we can't settle. I guess don't settle for with that's just how I am, or don't settle for I did a good job. Yes, you did a great job. You did an amazing job, but also take that feedback to improve. If you're not growing, you're not going anywhere. If you're not growing, you'll stay where you are and even settle, right? Like the ground settles, right? You will settle down into something when you really were meant to go higher. So one of those things is you have to be able to acknowledge I have strengths. Yes, we celebrate that. We also even can celebrate your weaknesses because here's the thing, you have people. So the people around you, I was talking to one of my friends earlier. I don't do the decor, like event decor, hospitality, like that's just not one of my strengths. But it's her, like she can do it backwards, blindfolded with roller skates on, twirling fire. She could do it. It'll be set up. It'll be nice. It'll be amazing. It'll look like a new space. Not my thing. I'm okay. I know that. I'm okay with that. So I lean on my people like, hey, can you do this? What do you think about this? What should be the budget for this? I am not above someone consulting and telling me what I should do, what the best route is, what the budget should be for this. I'm not walking around like, oh no, I know how to do that. No, I don't know how to do it. And I can say that out loud and I know how to ask for help. Right. So self-reflection is knowing, okay, this is something that I need to work on. Not, well, that's just how I am. So y'all gonna have to deal with it. Right. We'll pull up some of the comments while y'all kind of think about self-reflection. Janessa said, at work, I consider roles, teams, and managers that I liked and didn't like when looking for a new role. New positions sound perfect on paper, but team chemistry and managers do make a difference. Absolutely. The people around you, the position, it looks like once you actually get into it can look very different than what was presented to you. So you have to know who you are, you have to know who's around you, and you have to know all that kind of covers all of it, the balance and the boundaries that you're willing to put up so that the people that you're interacting with, and one of the things that we do at one of my jobs is we do these almost like personality assessments. So you are more familiar with the people that you're working with, how they respond. So you can know, these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses, not so you can point out, oh, you don't do that well, but so, there may be someone who's a little bit more organized, or there may be someone who does better with logistics, or somebody who's better with IT, someone who's better with graphics. So if we know these are your strengths, boom, we know who we can lean on in these moments. If we know these are your weaknesses, we know, okay, let me go support her in this. I know this is something that she can do. It may take her a little bit more time. So what I'm going to do, if I know that this is a project that she has, I'm going to go, because that's one of my strengths. I'm not going to point out, oh, you're wrong. But what I'm going to do is, okay, how can I assist you with this? Right. So if I know your weaknesses, if I know your strengths, and I know mine, we can support each other and help hold each other up. So that's good. Janessa said, introspective reviews are necessary to reach your personal and professional goals. That's it. How can I improve? And I have to be truthful. I have to tell the truth as I'm looking at myself, right? Many of us, depending on your job, you have some type of review, or you have some type of assessment, or you have something that kind of like a yearly review or observation, or something where the people around you kind of not great, but they look at areas that you're doing really well in, areas that you may be able to show some improvement. If you always get the top slot, there's no room for growth. So many of us complain like, oh, they only gave me, if it's out of 5, they only gave me a 3. Guess what? That means there is room for growth. So what we need to do is start taking a introspective look at, okay, so how can I improve? How can I grow to a better space, right? I think I had a 90-day review or something when I started as a hospice chaplain. And I think our scale was like 0, 1, 2. And I got a lot of 2s, and I was happy, but I had a 1 on like, it can stop us from being stagnant. I had a 1 on like my care plans, because what I was doing, I was new, no excuse. What I was doing was taking the templates that were in there, which isn't wrong. They have templates for us to do care plans. But what they want us to do is to see you growing, is to create your own care plan where you put in your own goal, you put your own interventions in. So I wasn't doing that. So I could have stayed stagnant and just be like, well, I'll just settle for 1. I'll keep using the templates. But what I found when I started creating my own care plans, I was able to really tailor it to my patients. So the growth didn't just affect me, the growth affected those who I was serving. So because now my care plans are more tailored to this person specifically, and not just a more general outlook, it is now I'm able to serve you. I'm able to meet you exactly where you are. And it's not just a blanket, oh yeah, check this box. It's now I'm able to develop better relationships with my patients, with their families, while I'm also able to grow, because my writing is more in my language, and it's pushing me to use my education and knowledge. Now I'm using it, and I don't just have it, but I'm using it. Right? If that makes sense. So I'm not staying stagnant, depending, oh, well, I got a template, I can just use that. No, if I want to grow, I have to push myself beyond that, to where I'm thinking more and I'm doing more and I'm tailoring things to those who I serve, which builds our relationship, which allows them to open up more and feel cared for more, and to even grow as they go through their journey, because they see that somebody cares, and it's not just this general, I'm gonna slap this on it, but it's really tailored to what they want and what they need. So thank you. And even like personal, for those who may be former relationships, whether it be business relationships, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are growing friendships, right? We don't always talk about adult friendships. Sometimes it's hard, but we also have to take an introspective look at, okay, if I've lost friends, or if I had friends that weren't the best, also looking at ourselves, okay, how can I show up for people better? How can I be a better resource for people? How can I support the people who I want to grow closer to? And when we talk about relationships, and I was talking to one of my friends early this week about this too, like dealing with your traumas, dealing with your bad experiences in a healthy way, so that when you do start to enter into relationships or date, you're able to do that from a healthy place. And you're not just like, well, everybody's bad, all men are bad, all women are bad, because you're speaking from a place we haven't really dealt with internal things. So thank you for sharing that, for sure. Freddie said, we are pleased with our progress so far, and there is still room for growth in the future. Perfectly said. Yes, be pleased, be proud of yourself, cheer yourself on, know that you put your best foot forward, know that you are amazing, and know not beating yourself down. Know that, I'm great now. But just imagine as I keep growing how amazing I can be. Again, right? So it's not dismissing where you are now. It's saying, I'm doing a really great job and I've been able to accomplish this, but not getting stuck in that space and saying, you know what, I've done that, but also I can imagine what I can achieve as I learn more, as I gain more experience, as I network with more people, as I grow other relationships, as I get more funding. Imagine how much further I can go, knowing that this is where I am now. Thank you. I am Cam. Hey, girl. Thanks for coming in. So the next question, and again, you don't have to answer this out loud if you don't want to, but do you know your strengths and weaknesses? So as we talk about looking at yourself internally, as we talk about what it looks like to really take an introspective view and really be honest about where you are, do you know, like, have you identified your strengths and weaknesses? Right, with businesses we do like SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, what's the T? Threats, right? As we look at that, we often have to take you have to take into account, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses. How can I place people around me, right? But the first step, right, is acknowledging it. The first step is saying, okay, boom, this is what it is. And again, that's why I say it's not a beat down to yourself, because you acknowledge your strengths. This is what I do well in, but you also acknowledge your weaknesses. This is where I'm not as strong. Identifying it is a strength. Identifying your weaknesses is a strength because you see where there may be a threat, but you also should be able to identify people who can hold you up in those weaknesses and who you can add to your team or who you can add to your circle that can impact those weaknesses. So there may be a weakness for you, but you don't even have to handle this anymore because you have someone who can support you in that area. So identifying your weaknesses, acknowledging your weaknesses actually is a strength because it allows for you to pinpoint it and then be able to put out whatever kind of plan so that you're able to move forward in that. So thank you for sharing that. Hey Tony. Okay, so the YouTube, we on. So y'all, we're doing. So here's one of our things with the event, right? One of our strengths was that we have a very good community built on IG. Our weaknesses were, and we discovered this in our initial in-person meeting, was everybody's not on Instagram. So now we are broadcasting to YouTube and to Facebook. For people who may not have Facebook or Instagram, they can watch it on YouTube, or you can watch it on your TV, And for people who may not have Instagram, they can watch on Facebook and comment and share. So I just saw her YouTube comment come through, so I'm excited about that. So we are able to acknowledge, okay, we're not able to reach as many people as we could, and many of these people want to be a part of the conversation, but they don't have Instagram. So what do? We hook up. I got with somebody like, okay, what streaming service y'all use, right? Weakness. And I made that a strength. Okay, boom. All right, now we can go YouTube. You can stream to LinkedIn. I'm going left. But the thing is acknowledging this is a weakness. How do I improve it? Who can I connect with so that we can figure out what the plan of action is and what the course of action is so that we can improve on this weakness. So thank y'all. Ms. Tracy said, please explain showing yourself grace, new job, overthinking. So that's it. I have a few friends and a few people that I know who are in new spaces. It's spring, right? Things are changing. A lot of people are transitioning from one place to another, getting raises, getting new jobs, getting new positions. Often that can be overwhelming. It could be done like it's exciting. It's like, oh, I'm in this new space. Oh, I'm making new money. Or I have a new position. I'm able to maneuver a little bit more. I'm getting new clients. Whatever the case may be for you, it is, oh, this is exciting. The weakness, right? The strength is you have these new opportunities. You have this new job. The weakness, or where we can come in where it may be an issue, is we start overthinking. We start getting overwhelmed because we're in this new position and it's more demanding. It takes more time. Giving yourself grace in this space is understanding this is new. Sound real simple, but it's not. This is new for you. This is a new position for you. This is something you may have never done in this capacity before. So the grace is knowing that as you're in this position, you're not in this position because you are a guru or because you know everything. you're in this position because where you were before, you maxed out. So you move up to a new level. As you move up to a new level, you have to learn in that level. So the grace is giving your space to learn, giving yourself space to make mistakes, giving yourself space to talk to someone who may have been in that position before, or someone who's knowledgeable about that position, and allowing them to pour into you and give you information and give you tips, and just sharing with them some of your struggles. So that grace looks like giving yourself, and it's going to sound kind of crazy, space to not get it right every time. And even knowing that the people who helped get you there and helped push you there and saw you fit to be there understand that this is new for you. So even, knowing that sometimes we're harder on ourselves than our supervisors or our team leads or the people above us, just because we don't know. So we think, oh, you got to do this perfect. You got to do this right. Now you want to be responsible and do what you're supposed to do, but you also want to give yourself grace to make mistakes, knowing that this is new. So I won't know everything, right? This is new, so I won't get it right the first time every time. This is new, so I might mess up, and not carrying the weight of the mess up, but understanding that, you know what, I made a mistake. We can figure out anything can be fixed, right? Anything can be fixed. Fine, you made a mistake. Consult with someone who's been where you've been. Consult with someone who knows what you're doing. Schedule a meeting with someone, your boss or the person that hired you or the person that is your direct connect or your direct contact up the chain. Sit with them for lunch, pick their brain, and I know that culture in different places can be different, but really lean into people. Sometimes we're scared to do that, but lean into people, ask them questions, and that not only helps you to grow, but it also shows them that you're invested and you want to do well and you want to do it right. Because many of them, many times, all the time, right, understand that you're learning. It's new. They know you just got hired. So give yourself grace in that way and try your best. Easier said than done to disconnect sometimes, to get your quiet time, to listen to God, to read, to take walks outside, right? So your brain isn't constantly going with what's happening at work. Take a break from work too, because often we'll keep spinning our wheels, when if you take a mental break and you come back, often you'll see things differently than if you just keep looking at it. I hope that answered it. Freddie said, acknowledging your weakness can be challenging, but it's an essential part of developing self-love. Absolutely. So the same way we have hard conversations with others, we have to have the hard conversation with ourselves. Okay, now you need to work on your attitude. You need to work on your spending. You need to work on your relationship with so-and-so. You need to work on, you had this goal. What's going on? How do we get away from this? Having that conversation with yourself, right? You don't need to eat that cookie, right? Me and myself been battling these Bojangles, Bowberry cookies. Me and myself been battling about whether we're going to get some or not, right? And the funny thing is, I went to Bojangles the other day, and they were like 20 minutes on cookies. I'm like, 20? Are y'all making the cookies from scratch? So I was like, maybe you don't need them, right? Because I hit my weight loss goal. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get a cookie. And maybe that's not what I need. I don't know. We're still consulting with each other. But my weakness is sometimes kind of veering off from that plan of, okay, this is what we're eating this week. This is what we're doing this week. You had something fried early. It is, okay, all right, this is your goal. Your weakness is this. How are you going to deal with this? You're going to pack lunch. It could be something as simple as you're going to pack lunch. You're going to have water, right? For me, I don't buy sodas. So if you come here and you see a soda, somebody else bought it to my house, right? Or somebody gave it to me and I bought it here. I don't buy sodas. I buy club soda, which is just carbonated water. I buy water. And I'll buy lemonade. And once the lemonade is gone, it's gone. Like my daughter came home tonight. She was like, we don't have nothing to drink. I said, we have water. You have plenty to drink. We got bottles and bottles and bottles of water. Right? So I do that because I know my weakness. If it's a soda in here, especially, don't let it be like an orange Fanta. Oh, it's probably, I'm going to drink like the 2 liter in a day. So my acknowledging my weakness is saying, okay, don't even bring that in the house, right? So for some of us, it may be like a cold turkey. Don't even bring it in the house. Don't even bring it around you. You might have to block the person. You may have to, like delete the phone number, delete the contact, unfollow, whatever that may be something like that for you, right? But yeah, you have to do it. And it's true for self-love, because part of self-love, part of self-care, the root of it is self-love. When you love yourself, when you value yourself, you take care of yourself. So thank you for sharing that. Okay. Thanks, Miss Tracy. Hey, Shop Drop Thrifts. Hey, Reek. So yeah, thank you guys for coming in. Thank y'all for sharing. And there was some really great points made about acknowledging your strengths and weaknesses, and it can be a tough conversation. I'll kind of do this one quickly because it is 10 o'clock and we have one more thing. Are you open to feedback? Are you open to feedback? So that's just a quick question. Think about that. Sit with that for a little bit, because that's one of my questions. Are you open to feedback, or when people say something to you, are you like, I ain't trying what you're saying, right? Because often we find ourselves like, oh, they don't understand me. They, whatever. So just consider that. We won't go real deep into that, but here's the last thing. The last thing, and we kind of talked about this as we talked about strengths and weaknesses. So I'll spend maybe like 5 minutes, and then we're gonna close out. Is seeking help is strength. So often society, culture try to tell us if you need help, you're weak. If you need help, you did something wrong. If you need help, you messed up along the way. If you're asking for help, you're just a charity. Like it's all this just negative stigma around asking for help, when it actually really takes a strong person to say, you know what, I can't do this by myself. And my biggest thing, and this is with the vent, right? We live in community. We thrive in community. You can survive alone. You can survive all day alone. We thrive in community. So asking for help doesn't make you less of a person, doesn't make you less of a woman, doesn't make you less of a man, doesn't make you less of whatever you are, but it shows that you understand the strength in community, right? We often talk about, it's not quantity, is quality. But when we talk about help, when we talk about community, quantity really can make a difference in this sense, right? Same thing as we talk about your strength and your weaknesses. If you don't, even if you're strong in a certain area, if in that moment you don't have the capacity to do something, or you know that you're trying to build something out and you need a team, or you need a group, or you need people that you can lean on, even if it's just for a phone call, if you just want them to pray for you, if you just want them to give you some advice, seeking help builds you up. It makes you stronger. It makes you wiser, because you lean on the counsel of those who have been there before you, right? This is why I think mentee-mentor relationships are so important. That's why I think it's so important for generations to share information, because there is strength in knowing your history. There is strength in knowing that you can lean on to someone who's had experiences beyond what you have had, right? Again, their truth and your truth may be different, but it does not cancel out the fact that they have gained some wisdom from what they've been through. So talking to our elders, talking to those younger than us, talking to those from different geographical locations strengthens us. I mean, can you help me understand this, right? Why do these things happen? What do you think about this? And asking those information, asking for their input, asking about their perspective, asking about their experiences really strengthens you, no matter what your vocation is, no matter what a location you're located in, no matter what you're seeking to do. The more information you gain, the more people that you're connected to, right? Quality people that you're connected to, it strengthens you, right? Because you're informed from different perspectives. If the only perspective you know is your own, you can only be as helpful as what you know. And you have very finite, very limited information. But if you can help people based on what I know from this person that has experience in the military, what I know from this person who has traveled the world, what I know from this person who grew up poor, what I knew from this person who grew up very well off, what I know from this person who grew up in 1937, what I knew from this person who is part of Gen Alpha. I have all these people who are resources for me that help build me up and help me gain information and help me build relationship with other people who may have different experiences, but I can connect with them because of knowledge that a 10-year-old shared with me, because of wisdom that a 90-year-old shared with me. I'm able to move forward. I'm able to grow. I'm able to move in wisdom that I may not have even gotten through my experience, but I got because I connected with someone else who was able to navigate that space. So now I don't have to because they did and they passed that to me. I hope that makes sense, right? So it is the idea of I'm leaning on you. I am using you as a resource, right? Because I know that I alone can do a lot, but I can do so much more with me, right? If you want, what is the quote? If you want to get there fast, go alone. If you want to go farther, go with others, right? So it's like if the further you want to go, the more you want to accomplish, you have to have people with you, right? With businesses, they talk about learning how to scale. You have to have systems in place so that when you go from having one customer to having a million customers, you're not going to break the system, right? So for many of us who may be running a one-man show, there's going to get to a point where you need other people, right? No matter what it is that they do, you need the help. And it doesn't mean that your vision is wrong. It doesn't mean that your goal is off. It doesn't mean that you're inadequate. It means that what you carry and what you have is so big that it's going to impact and help others grow and help others be a part of it to even reach out to a greater audience, to more people. More lives will be impacted. Why? Because you asked for help. You were strong enough to say, you know what, I need some help with this one. Right? You were strong enough to say, you know what, I ain't gonna be able to handle this by myself. That is not a negative thing. That is, wow, this is so large. I need other hands on it. This is so large. I need other people thinking about how we're gonna process this. This is so large. I need a team. This is so large. I need other people praying. This is so large. I need other perspectives to come in because I don't want just people that look like me, act like me, and think like me. I want to be able to touch people that I may have never been in conversation with. And I need other people to do that because I haven't experienced every life that's ever been lived. I just experienced my life, right? And other people can enhance that with you. So I hope that makes sense. I don't know why there's a stigma. We probably can go down some philosophical roads, figure out why there's a stigma for asking for help. But the biggest thing I really want us to take away from today, and again, thank you all for coming in. Thank you for chatting with us tonight. Thank you for dropping your wisdom, for being open, for being honest, for sharing your truth with us. The biggest thing I want us to take with us is, hey Sam, the biggest thing I just saw y'all saw you up here on Facebook. The biggest thing I want us to take is that the truth of the matter is your truth is your truth. Other people's truth are their truth. And instead of us trying to impress our truth on others or change other people's truth or figure out whose truth is the right truth, understanding that everybody's truth can be truth. And then understanding that with boundaries, with self-reflection, and with reaching out for help, we can grow beyond, this has to be this way and that has to be that way, but we can live in this space that is open, that is accepting, that is inclusive, and that helps us to impact so many lives with truth telling, with hearing truth, and with creating safe spaces so that everyone is able to express and everyone is able to grow. Even if we all take different routes, we're all able to grow in some capacity. So thank you again for joining us tonight. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode of The Vent. Y'all were in season 4, episode 7. Next week, just real quick, next week we'll be talking about grief. We'll be talking about grief. We'll be talking about religious trauma. We have a special guest, Mavis Rowe. She is a grief counselor. We'll go through all her credentials, but she is licensed clinical social worker. She will be joining us. I'm super excited for that because grief often is something we don't talk about a lot, but it's not next week. It is the 30th. I'm sorry. The 30th, she'll be with us. Grief is not something that we talk about a lot, but it is something that people talk about in pockets and people deal with every day. So we really want to talk about that. We really want to get some practical resources. We really want to dive into that conversation. So I'm really excited. It's the 30th. I'm sorry, not next week. Next week we'll be back. It'll be me. 30th, it'll be me and Mavis. So I'm so looking forward to that. But thank you for joining tonight. I appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all